Today's class from Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 4.23.17 onwards will be given by His Grace Sukumar Gaur prabhuji. Hare Krishna prabhuji, you are there on the call?
Hare Krishna, yes Mataji, I am there on the call.
Hare Krishna prabhuji. Hare Prabhuji for the conference call. We are really fortunate to understand Prabhuji. Thank you so much. You can take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you all hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, clear.
Okay, thank you. So we'll read the shloka first and then we'll proceed for the Mangalacharana. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 23, Text 17. Indriyeshu manastani tanmatreshu yatodbhavam bhutadini amanyu utkrishya bhatya atmani sandade. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: He amalgamated the mind with the senses and the senses with the sense objects. According to their respective position, he also amalgamated the material ego with the total material energy, Mahatattva. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In respect to ego, the total material energy is sundered in two parts. One agitated by the modes of ignorance and other agitated by the modes of passion and goodness. Due to agitation by modes of ignorance, the five gross elements are created. Due to agitation by mode of passion, the mind is created, and due to agitation by mode of goodness, false egoism or identification with matter is created. The mind is protected by a particular type of demigod. Sometimes the mind is also understood to have a controlling deity or demigod. In this way, the total mind, namely the material mind controlled by material demigods, was amalgamated with the senses. The senses in turn were amalgamated with the sense objects. The sense objects are form, taste, smell, sound, etc. Sound is the ultimate source of the sense object. The mind was created by the senses and the senses by the sense object, and all of them were ultimately amalgamated in the sky. The creation is so arranged that cause and effect follow one another. The merging process involves amalgamating the effect with the original cause. Since the ultimate cause is in the material world is the Mahatattva, everything was gradually wound up and amalgamated with the Mahatattva. This may be compared to the Shunyavad or voidism, but this is the process of cleansing the real spiritual mind or consciousness. When the mind is completely washed off of all material contamination, the pure consciousness acts. The sound vibration from the spiritual sky can automatically cleanse all material contamination as confirmed by Lord Chaitanya, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antelila 20.12. We need only take the advice of Lord Chaitanya and chant the Hare Krishna mantra to clean the mind of all material contamination, and this may be considered the summary of this difficult verse. As soon as the whole material contamination is washed off by the process of chanting, all desires and reaction to material activities become immediately vanquished, and real life, peaceful existence begins. In this age of Kali, it is very difficult to adopt the yogic process mentioned in this verse. Unless one is very expert in such yoga, the best course is to adopt the ways and means of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Thus one can gloriously become freed from material contamination by simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just as life in this material world has its beginning in material sound, similarly a spiritual life has its beginning in this spiritual sound vibration. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Natanamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Veshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we welcome all the devotees for this morning, for this Srimad Bhagavatam class. I am grateful to all of you for allowing me to make a presentation on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are on the 4th canto, 23rd chapter, Ritu Maharaj going back to Godhead. So, Prabhupada base is for Hare Krishna.
Can you on your video?
Okay, Mata, I'll try, but there is some coverage problem here, so I don't know how far it will work.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Am I visible, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada bases his purport on these two words, Yatha Udbhavam, from wherefrom they generated, and Sandha they amalgamated. So Srila Prabhupada, every purport is a brilliant purport, and it makes it very clear that anybody who reads Srimad Bhagavatam can understand the Bhagavatam and what is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So here Prabhupada divides his purport in three parts. First part explains the amalgamating process, which is also called as Krama Mukti, or the rewinding process, that is also mentioned in the 2nd canto, 2nd chapter. And then in the second part, Prabhupada says that this Krama Mukti can be, which is so difficult, can be easily achieved by just chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in the third part, Prabhupada compares and saying that this Ashtanga Yoga process is very difficult in this age. So Srila Prabhupada highlights the point that process may be different, but the goal achieved is the same. Externally, the process is different, but goal achieved will be the same. So what is the goal? Prabhupada makes it very clear: cleansing of the real spiritual mind, or what we say as consciousness. So cleansing the consciousness is the goal of any process in the yoga system. Prabhupada also writes in Bhagavad Gita, is saying that reaching the Brahma Bhuta stage, that is becoming self-realized. Who I am, what is my relationship with Krishna. So this is the Brahma Bhuta stage, which Prabhupada says is the goal of Ashtanga Yoga or any other yogic process. So let's take a brief recap of what Prabhupada mentions. Prabhupada's, if you read the 3rd canto especially, when the soul leaves the spiritual world, the soul is compressed into the size of a seed. Just like in 3rd canto, Kapil Muni mentions to Mata Devahuti, Karmana Deva Netrena Jantur Dehopapattaye Striya Pravishta Udaram Pumsa Reta Kana. Kana is a very small fragment, that is what we call as Kana. And where does this Jiva take his shelter? Pumsa Reta Kana Ashraya. He takes shelter in the semen of a person. And what happens later? Striya Pravishta Udaram. Then it enters the womb of a mother. But as soon as the Jiva leaves the spiritual world, one thing is very clear: Daiva Netrena. He is constantly under supervision. He cannot act as he likes. And that is why in future stages, Prabhupada says initially he is made of Brahma, and then according to his karmana, according to his karma, he will get the further bodies. So the point is, as soon as he leaves Daivaneta, there is a camera that is constantly 24/7 behind this entity. So there is a superior supervision that is being that the Jiva has to face. So you may ask, how can we understand this? If we remember the picture of Gajendra Moksha, when Lord Vishnu personally delivers Gajendra, and Lord Vishnu gives him a hand, and when he is about to leave his life, then what comes out of the body of Gajendra is a 4-handed Vishnu form. So already in us we have a spiritual body which is covered with a material body. Just like if I have a hand glow on my hand, so the hand glow is the covering on my hand. Similarly, Atma has, the spiritual body is now covered with one more body. Just like if you see again in the Gajendra Moksha case, the crocodile, which was the Gandharva Huhu, when his neck was cut, what came out was the body of a Gandharva. Means inside the body of crocodile there is the body of Gandharva, and in that there is the actual Atma. So there are three coverings in case of this Gandharva. So similarly, this Atma is now covered with this matter. Now when he comes down, suppose if I have to come from India to America, and then there is the atmosphere there is very cold, so I have to get some proper dressings for that. I have to bring proper clothing. Similarly, when the Atma, pure spirit, so when he comes down to this material world, to fit in this place, he has to take certain proper covering. Just like when astronauts, they go to higher planets, then they have to have a certain suitable dressing so that they can sustain there. Similarly, pure soul cannot in the pure spiritual body suit here, so he has to take a covering so that he feels natural here in this place. So when he enters this Brahmanda, there are 8 coverings that are covering this Brahmanda. In Gita, Krishna says, Bhumi Apo Analo Vayu Kam Mana Buddhi Revach Ahankara. So this 8, and each layer is 10 times thicker than the other one. So this 8 coverings are covering this entire Brahmanda. So just like Prabhupada mentions here that there is a Mahat Tattva. So Mahat Tattva is nothing but the mixture of this 24 elements, and this Jiva, he gets this 24 elements on him. Just like Mahat Tattva can be compared to a bank. When we take loan from the bank, when our work is done, we return it back. Similarly, when the Jiva takes over this covering, and when his work is done, he gives it back to that bank of Mahatattva, and then he can have his pure soul freed from this entanglement of matter, and then he leaves back to the spiritual world. So in this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning the merging process involves amalgamating the effect with the original cause. Since the ultimate cause in the material world is the Mahat Tattva, everything gradually wounds up and amalgamated with the means what we have taken from the Mahat Tattva, we have to give it back. And this is exactly what is the rewinding process. So Mahat Tattva can be compared to a bank where we take this 24 elements. When our work is done, we return it back in the same order. Just like if I wear 4 shirts, one above each. So if I have to remove those shirts, can I remove the one that is the last I have worn? No. I have to remove it in a certain order, then I can get freed from all these shirts. Similarly, while surrendering also, while returning this element, that process has to be done in a certain order. That is what the previous all shlokas are mentioning, and here also Prabhupada is speaking about the amalgamating process. Now, how do you return these elements? Then Prabhupada is saying there are 2 ways. One is a natural way and another is a mechanical way. Just like if a mother has to give a birth to a child, there is one process that is a natural process and other that has been developed. Just like we see Kauravas, they were born from the pot. So that becomes a mechanical process, but the end result is same, giving birth to a baby. So the first method is Ashtanga Yoga, that is mechanical, and the second Prabhupada is saying here is the Bhakti Yoga, which is the natural process for the soul. Now, somebody may ask, what is the difference? There are some basic differences. First is the knowledge of the object of meditation and the knowledge about the relationship with the object of meditation. In the first method, you have to find it out. And in second method, it is given first hand. Just like when we first came to ISKCON, the day one as we enter here, we are told 2 things. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the goal of life is to become the servant of the servant of the servant. These 2 things are very clear, the object and the relationship with the object of meditation. So there is no confusion. But Prabhupada is mentioning here that in this age of Kali, it is very difficult to adopt the yogic process mentioned in this verse. Unless one is very expert, in such yoga he cannot succeed. Now you may ask, what is the difficulty? So this process is called as Ashtanga Yoga process. This is 8-stage purification process. Just like we have impure water, and there are certain water purifier, there are certain levels. When the impure water passes through these certain levels, then at the end we get what is the pure water. Similarly, when the consciousness is allowed to go through these 8 stages, then it is purified. So in shloka number 4, Shukdev Goswami is mentioning, Prithu Maharaj, after leaving his kingdom, he went to practice spiritual life as seriously as he ruled his kingdom. So the first criteria for practice of any yoga system is a serious practitioner is required. That is the basic requirement for successful execution. Now this Ashtanga Yoga process is already there in the Vedas, but Patanjali Rishi, he collected and compiled it in the sutra form. Sutra means very concisely. Maybe in one sentence you can have 10 shlokas coming up, and that becomes a sutra. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra is nothing but he collected and compiled one book that is called Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So the definition of yoga that Patanjali Rishi gives is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Chitta is mind, Vritti is the nature of the mind, and Nirodha. So bringing it from the current state of position to the actual state of position, that is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, means mind right now is impure, but by a certain process, if I bring it back to that pure form, then that becomes the yoga process. Now there are 8 stages that he mentions. First, we know is Yama. So Yama is abstention. There are do's and there are don'ts. So in the Yama is don'ts. We don't have to do this. What we have to abstain from? Ahimsa, that is violence. Satya, we have to always speak the truth. Asteya, we have to avoid stealing. Brahmacharya, we have to somehow or the other practice this. And aparigraha, that is we have to give up our possessive nature. These are the 5 abstentions. Now why are these 5 abstentions required? So that the practitioner can interact in a harmonious way with the surrounding. If I have to stay in a society, if I go in somebody's house and start stealing, and if I speak lie, or if I create some violence or hit somebody, then I am not in harmony with the society I have come to stay in. So similarly, if a sadhaka has to advance, he has to follow this rules and regulations. So Yama means abstentions, don'ts. These are the 5 abstentions. Just like in ISKCON we have our 4 regulations. Why? Because they help us progress. Second is Niyama, that is 5 observances, that means 5 do's. They are Shaucha, that is cleanliness, Santosha, that is satisfaction, Tapa, austerity, Swadhyaya, daily practice of whatever we have decided, and Ishvara Pranidhana, that is surrender to the Lord. Now why is Niyama required? To ensure body and mind are not polluted, or we don't add any other pollutant once the process of purification is started. Because impurity is already there, we have to purify that. So to reduce that work, we have to make sure that we don't add anything. So step 1 and step 2 is nothing but a preparatory phase so that other practices can be done properly. So then the third stage is asana. The asana is the discipline for the body. Now why is a certain discipline for the body required? So there are 3 things especially. First, to keep the body disease free. Second is to preserve the vital energy, just like Brahmacharya, Ojas and Tejas is preserved so that we can act more in short period of time. And third is correct posture will help you meditate. Now you may ask how? If you have ever heard Prabhupada's Japa tape, Prabhupada always is saying sit straight, sit straight. Why sit straight? Because that erect position will help the vayus in the body to move properly. because when the vayu is stopped, or it creates some disturbance in the movement, then we feel dizzy, or we feel very weak, or we don't feel like chanting. So that is why Prabhupada always says, sit straight. So that is how asana will help. Correct posture will help in meditation. Also, asana will help control the nervous system and stop further disturbances. Just what I said is sluggishness or dullness or disease that are created. Second, it makes the body very light, because a very stiff body will not help us focus on the goal. Third is asana helps us release our past conditionings, the past samskaras that are stored in the mind. The first thing we have to come to understanding is that we have to notice that because of the previous samskaras we have got this body. So we have to be very careful of our thoughts, our emotions, so that they don't add to the samskaras. Because we can't practice any yoga process forcefully or unwillingly. Otherwise it will add to the samskara of suffering and pain. There are already some samskaras which have a very painful history. So we don't want this process to become painful. That is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur always said that first comes swasthya, then sadhana, then seva, then sadachara. So first, always preference is given to swasthya. So practice asana in such a way that the mind is ready to let go of the previous emotions and experiences. Because till the time this doesn't happen, the end result will be different. Now you will say how this happens. For example, let's take a case of Dhruva Maharaj, 4:9:29. Maitreya Muni is saying, Maitreya Vacha, Matu Swapatnya Vagbaner, Ridi Vidaistutan Smaran, Na Icchan Mukta Pater Muktim, Tasmad Tapam Upeyivan. Maitreya Muni is saying to Vidura. Vidura is asking, why was Dhruva not happy even after achieving the favor, even after seeing the Lord face to face? Then Maitreya Rishi is saying this shlokam, Matu Sapatne Vagbaner. He is saying his father's co-wife, Sapatne, Vagbaner, her hard words which has hurt his emotion. Ridi Viddistutan Smaran, he was so badly hurt, so badly pierced by that emotions, he was constantly remembering that. Na Icchan Muktipater Muktim. So he was told that at the end Lord will come, but his focus was not Muktipater. His focus was not to achieve the favor of the Lord in terms of liberation. Muktipater Muktim. His goal was not to achieve liberation from this material bondage. Tasmat tapam upeyivan, and that is why he was feeling so sad that what did I ask from the Lord who could easily give me mukti. So the start of the process, his emotions were hurt, and because of the hurt emotion, his goal was not fixed. Rather than going for a permanent goal, he was constantly focusing on a temporary goal, that was revenge to Suruchi. And that is why when he faced the Lord, he could not face the Lord because constantly he was remembering, what did I ask from the Lord? Muktipate, he could have given me liberation from this material bondage, but what I asked was for revenge. And the Lord says to Dhruva, Dhruva, make sure I will fulfill your desire. What will happen to Suruchi and her son, the Lord mentions that. And that is where he feels that I didn't make the proper use. So goal, liberation from material world or the association of the Lord, that was not fixed for Dhruva. That is why in yoga there has to be a balance. We cannot go to the extreme. The present also has to be considered. The present state of consciousness has also to be considered. That is why asana is invitation to say goodbye to the extremes, and at the same time accept the reality and work on it. Just like in case of Dhruva, it was not easy for Dhruva to forget. So how do you say that I should let go? How to let go our hurt First thing is we have to accept that yes, this has happened with me. You have to acknowledge the past. Currently, I want to give it up, but yes, at the same time, I am hurt because of the past experiences. So when we practice asana, there is a conscious letting go of the past emotions. When there is conscious letting go of the past emotion, then that allows us to appreciate the present moment. Oh my God, I am in the association of devotees. I have the best process. I have a certain pure goal. On the contrary, if we hold, then the entire yoga process becomes limited in the conception. Because when we limit the thinking by holding, what am I doing? I am not liked by this person. I was not appreciated. I was not given respect. He said this to me. And so what is this happening? What is this making the end result as? It is limiting the concept. I am, by holding, not allowing myself to reach a destination where all these things will absolutely make no difference for me. Absolutely make no difference. And what is that? The level of the soul. We have not reached the Paramatma. The reaching the level of the soul in itself is so joyous, Just like in 6th chapter Gita, 20, 21, 22. 6.20, 21 and 22. Beautiful purport. Must read purport. Such hope-giving purport. Prabhupada, this sloka is yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya. Yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. Krishna is saying that when the yogi, this is Ashtanga Yoga chapter, 6th chapter Gita, especially Krishna is highlighting the Ashtanga Yoga process. He is saying that when the yogi becomes mature, yatra chaiva atmana atmanam pashyan, he is seeing himself with the help of his mind. Pashyan, he is seeing. Chaiva atmana, mind, atmanam, himself, is seeing himself with the help of his purified mind. Pashyan, he is seeing. Atmani tushyati, he becomes so happy, just seeing himself with the help of his pure mind. Yam labdha chaparam labham manyate nadikam tata. When he sees himself, his beautiful form, he says, I don't want anything. Yam labdha chaparam labham, no other gain is superior. Nadikam tata, not better than this. I don't want anything else. Yasmin stitona dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. He says, then in this stage, even if any dukkha comes, na vichalyate. He will not get distracted because he has come to a clear understanding that Baba, I have nothing to do with this material world, and especially nothing to do with this material body. That is the best part, just when we reach to the understanding that I am this pure soul. So what we do by holding is, we limit our growth of moving towards the eternal life of joy and happiness, where there is no pain, absolute no pain. So if we, Her Grace Sukava Mataji has written this book, Unrevealing the Heart. If you find this book, please read it. It is a very beautiful book. She has shared her experiences in the society of ISKCON, that how improper emotional balance can lead to such disaster. Initially, the devotees were so fired up. Jai Prabhupada, I have to do this, I have to do that continuously, 24 hours. I have to be in seva. It is okay, nice that we have to be in 24 hours seva, but at this moment, are we ready for 24 hours seva? No. When my senior or when my equal or when my subordinate, he says something painful to me, am I ready to accept it? If not, then can I move ahead? Even this reality has to be considered. And Mataji is sharing her experiences that she held it so badly for such a long time, and her holding, she didn't even realize it. But what happened because of that holding? She held it so badly that her body responded in terms that I can't handle this anymore. And her body responded that she had cancer. I think twice she had cancer. Her first time it was cured, second time it relapsed. Mataji says, I was not able to release. I was not able to release that emotions. So similarly, when we happily come to this understanding that yes, a conscious allowing, yes, I have to let it go, because if I don't let it go, there will be no space for experiencing a superior kind of happiness. That is why I have to let it go. So there is immense need amongst devotees to have a clear understanding of why we are practicing this devotional life. The purpose of practice has to be very clear, or else we will not get the proper results. Just like Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Rupa Narayan came to Srila Rupa Goswami and he said that please sign this Vijay Patra or else you have a debate with me. Rupa Goswami says, what debate? You are topper. Baba, I don't want. You are superior to me. Take this. Where should I sign? Immediately he signed. And when the news reached to Jiva Goswami, he said, Are, how come this can happen? How can my guru be defeated by somebody who is so ordinary? My guru is such a person. My guru this, that. And what happens? Jiva Goswami goes and defeats Rupa Narayan. Now what happens when Rupa Narayan is defeated by Jiva Goswami? Did Srila Rupa Goswami congratulate Jiva Goswami? Oh, very nice, you defeated Rupa Narayan. Rupa Goswami chastised him, saying that, sir, this is not the way to stay in Vrindavan. The mood of Vrindavan is servant of the servant. The master or anybody in Vrindavan is always right, I am wrong. There is one Acharya in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, I exactly don't remember his name, but he is saying that if I go with my family for Vraja Darshan, and in that Darshan, if the Vrajvasi steals my money, it doesn't bother me. If he takes away my children, it doesn't bother me. If he takes away my wife, it doesn't bother me. If he beats me, it is like Brahmananda. And Rupa Goswami chastises Jiva Goswami, and he is saying your mood is not matching to the mood of Vrindavan. You have got distracted. Similarly, while practicing any process, intention has to be deep and clear. If the intention is not deep and clear, we may easily get distracted. And that is why this third stage of asana is very important. Fourth is pranayam, controlling of the breath. This helps control the mind. Mind and breath are very closely related. For example, when we get angry, what happens? Immediately the breath becomes faster. What is a fast breath? It is fast and short. It is a short breath. But when we are happy, the breath is very steady. And if we are more and more happy, it even becomes longer. When you are calmly sitting, try this out someday. The more the happier you are, more satisfied you are, automatically the breath becomes long and steady. So when we get angry, what does it mean? That means that we are affected by the person, place, time, situation or anything else. So by pranayam, what we are doing is we practice to extend the breath. So deep breath means, according to Patanjali, there is more oxygen in the blood, which helps us extend the response in a certain situation. If today I am getting angry, in a second, by this process, I'll get over a period 2 seconds, then 3 seconds, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then over a period of time, I will not at all be bothered of what he is saying. So that is why pranayam is extending the breath, trying to control the breath so that my response is initially delayed and later I am not affected by the entire situation. Fifth stage is pratyahar, withdrawal of the senses from their sense object. For this, they say that we have to focus on the tip of the nose. Why tip of the nose? Because when you focus at the tip of the nose, you have to squint your eyes. And when you squint your eyes will not move in 180 degrees. That means the interaction of the eyes with the object will be completely stopped. So attention is now we have to, after pratyahar, what we are trying to do is to, when the mind is trying to move outside for its contact, now we are trying to push the mind inside for its contact of its object. Now when the mind gets ready to move inside, then comes the sixth stage, is called as dharana, that is concentration of the mind on the object. Now here comes the trap for the Ashtanga yogis, that what object is we have to find out. Initially the mind, if you do vipassana, initially the mind will be focused on the breath, it will go inside and initially will start feeling what is happening inside. And when dharana matures, then it comes to the level of dhyana. So if before this I have shared this chart here in case you have got it on the screen or in your mobile. So first this is the Ashtanga Yoga process from the second chapter 2.1.15 to 2.2.32. So first is Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam and Pratyahar. Now here is the complicated part. After Pratyahar, Pratyahar is the withdrawal, then there is Dharana in the sixth stage. So Dharana, for Dharana we need a Dharana Ashray, or something where the mind can be reposed, an object for meditation. Now the chart, if you see the chart properly, after Pratyahar there is Dharana. The first arrow that comes is to the point of desire. So if the yogi has material desire to enjoy this material world, if it is yes, then his Dharana Ashray becomes the Virata Rupa. Even after meditating on the Virata Rupa for a long time, if he still has desires, then he is promoted to Vaishwanar Loka, Shishumar Loka, Mahar Loka, and then he comes to Brahma Loka. And in Brahma Loka, when he gets into mature yoga practices, then from there he starts this reversing process, because he is a matured yogi. After Pratyahar, then Dharana, first we do yes. If he has material desire, he has to meditate on the Virat Rupa, and if still material desires persist, then he has to go through this entire stage and he has to reach Brahma Loka, and from there he gives up in the rewind process and leaves everything the Pradhan, and then he achieves liberation. If after the Pratyahar, if the yogi immediately comes to an advanced stage and if he has no material desires, then his Dharanashray becomes the Paramatma. And then when his Dharanashray becomes stable, he comes to the level of Dhyan, and from Dhyan he enters Samadhi, and from Samadhi then he enters the Brahman realization. From there he takes up his soul to the Brahmarandra, and then he can become liberated. So this is the brief description of the Ashtanga Yoga process given in the second chapter. So this Dharana, for Dharana you need an object for meditation. If the object is not strong enough, then here lies the trap. You will surely be distracted from the goal. The example Prabhupada quotes again and again is Vishwamitra Muni. He didn't have a very strong Dharana Ashray, and that is why this simple tinkling of the ankle bell triggered the entire process in the negative direction. All the other previous emotions of enjoying sense object came up, and he was thrown out of the process. So Dharana to Dhyan, Dhyan is meditation. In meditation you have the strength to say no to your thoughts and desire, and there you make a conscious effort to choose the right option. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila, Haridas Thakur's pastime come. Krishna Nama Vishtamana Sada Haridas Aranye Rodita Haila Stri Bhava Prakash. When Maya Devi came to distract Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Prabhupada mentions here, Krishna Nama Avishta Man. Mind of Haridas Thakur was so much avishta, so much absorbed in the name of Krishna, Aranye Rodita Haila Stri Bhava Prakash, the amorous gestures that Maya Devi was presenting before Haridas Thakur, how was they? Aranya Rodita, if somebody is left alone in the forest and crying, is there anybody to look after him? Or is anybody there to pay attention to him? Absolutely no. So her making of that gestures to attract the mind of Haridas Thakur, how were they? Aranya Rodite, somebody crying alone in the forest and nobody paying attention. Why? Krishna Nama Avishta Mana Sada Haridas. His mind was so absorbed in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that Maya was presenting with her full energy. Can you imagine with Maya with full energy? For us, a billboard is sufficient to distract us, or one WhatsApp message is sufficient. Here, Maya in her entire power. But why was Haridas Thakur successful? Krishna Nama Avishta. Mind was so absorbed in the chanting of the holy name that nothing could divert him. And when we have such strong absorption, then that we enter in the 8th stage, that is Samadhi. That is the complete absorption in the object of meditation. So when will this happen? When we are chanting attentively as possible. Because there is, behind every name there is a form attached to it. Just like when I say pencil, what comes before us? A pencil. When I say a box, lunchbox is coming before my eyes. Similarly, when I say Krishna, this name has a form attached to it. But from name to that name becoming a person, there is all these 8 stages that are coming for us also, but they are in a different way. That is why attentive chanting is the most important priority for any sadhaka. So then we can enter this last stage of Samadhi, where we are completely absorbed. Then the Naam becomes Rupa, then the Roop, through the Roop we enter Naam, Guna, Roop, and then we enter the Leela. So the object of meditation for Ashtanga Yogi is the Super Soul. But even if the Ashtanga Yogi, after seeing the Super Soul, if he is not matured, see, even after seeing the Paramatma, he can still remain an immature yogi. Just like in the case of Narad Muni, Narada as a child, this shloka comes in first canto 6th chapter, 1:621. Hantasmin janmani bhavan mamam drishtum iharati avipakva kashayanam durdarsho ahamku yogina. Lord is saying, Arhati, you desire to see me, O Narada, again. He is referring to the boy. Arhati is you desire to see me again, but you cannot see me again. Why? Vipakwa. Narad Muni as a child has already seen the Lord once, but the Lord is saying you cannot see me once again. Why? Vipakwa, you are immature. Kashayanam, there is still some material dirt in you. You are not completely purified. Durdarshaha, difficult to see. Aham, I. Why? Because you are a ku-yogi. Ku-yogi means you are not complete in your service. So till that time, that service attitude towards that Paramatma is developed, you cannot get liberated from this material world. And that is what in the next 1:626 Narad Muni is saying. Then what did I do after that? When the Lord says you cannot see me, and you have to practice this process again very deeply, then what he is saying, Namani Anantasya Hatatripa Pathan. Anantasya, what I am doing, I am chanting the name of Lord Ananta. Namani Anantasya Hatatripa Pathan, constantly Pathan. Guhyani Badrani Kritani Chasmaran, and constantly remembering the beautiful form of the Lord. Badra, auspicious. Gam Paryatams, I am going from one Tirtha place to another. Tushtamana, and because of this my mind is completely satisfied. Gataspraha, I have become completely purified of all material desires. And what am I doing till then? Kalam Pratiksham, I am waiting for the right time. Vimudo Vimatsaraha, I have no envy for any other living entity. So till the last point there is scope of diversion, because if the yogi is immature, he starts thinking the soul as the super soul. He thinks I am the super soul, and then the entire process breaks again. And that is why Prabhupada is saying this process, there is risk and very difficult. For us it is easy to chant Hare Krishna under the superior guidance of Shri Guru. So somebody may ask why there is diversion even after when we have Guru. First thing is there is weak sambandha gyan. The knowledge about the object of meditation is weak, and secondly the mind is not absorbed. When the mind is absorbed, then taste will arise, and when there's taste is arising, then there is a strong desire to get back to the spiritual world. That is why this process of chanting is so powerful that we need not do anything else, just chant properly, chant sincerely without offending any devotee. Then it itself will make sure that we get higher taste, and that desire to return will become so strong. In the previous verse, Prithu Maharaj is using Jnana Yoga to get rid of his subtle body. No, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing why he is bringing Jnana Yoga in between. He says he is so intensely desiring to go back to the spiritual world. He says, make it faster, sir, please make it faster. And that is why he is introducing Jnana Yoga to cut off his subtle body. But then he realizes that I have come directly from the spiritual world, I have no subtle body. So that intensity to go back will only come when we are absorbed in the spiritual practices, otherwise it is very difficult. That is why to rise above the three modes of material by proper sincere practice of devotional service is very crucial. Because three modes are very strong. Maya doesn't necessarily mean that he will come in the form of a beautiful man or a woman or money or this and that. Maya, according to Bhagavad Gita, is Gunamayi. She is made up of three modes. The three modes can affect to a last level. I'll conclude this small story from Ramayana. Not actually Ramayana. This is from the life of a Maharashtrian saint called Samartha Ramadas. He happened to be in last 100 years in Maharashtra. So once he practiced tapasya for 12 years, and after practicing tapasya, constantly chanting Ramanam, he got personal darshan of Lord Ramachandra, Mata Sita, and the whole Ram Darbar. And after that he started preaching the glories of Lord Ram. So one day he was having a katha on Ramayana from Valmiki Ramayana, and he was narrating the pastime of Sundarkand. And you know Sundarkand is exclusively the glorification of Hanumanji. So while reciting this pastime, he's describing the glories that Hanumanji is now entering Lanka, and he goes into Lanka.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We can't hear you.
Started.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
So he was speaking on Sundarkand, and the scene is where Hanumanji is sitting on the top of the tree and trying to contact Mother Sita. And this Samartha Ramadas says that the place where Mata Sita was there in the forest, there were all flowers which were white in color. And immediately, we know this, that wherever Rama Katha is going on, Hanumanji is personally present. So he didn't know that Hanumanji is also sitting in his Katha. Hanumanji had changed his form and he was sitting in the... But as soon as Hanumanji heard that all the flowers were white in color, in the audience, whatever form he had of a different person, Hanumanji spoke. And he said, sir, please excuse me, but I have a question. And Katha is going on, and in between the Katha is saying, I have a question. So all the audience were thinking, who is this? Why he is asking question now? But still, Samartha Ramdas, he said, okay, you ask a question. And he said, what is the question? He said, sir, the flowers were not white, they were red. So Samartha Ramdas says, sir, it is written here in this book, I have heard from my guru, it is there in the Shastra. It is not red, it is white. Then Hanumanji was dressed as other person. He said, no, it was red. So there was a debate that went on. So ultimately Samartha Ramdas said, from what is your reference of saying it is red? My book is saying it is white. How can you say it is red? Then there he says then Hanumanji discloses his identity. He says, I am Hanuman and I was there in Lanka. So the flower is not white, it is red. Samartha Ramdas says, no, it is white. Hanumanji says, you didn't go, I was there. How can you say it is white? He says, no, I have full faith in my Lord Ram. What is written in Ramayana is the truth. He says, but I went there personally. I saw. He says, no, call somebody else. We want one more proof. So he says, what one more proof? Only I and Mother Sita, no. So he said, call Mother Sita. And so Hanumanji said, your name is Samartha Ramdas. Samartha means one who is capable. You only call if you are so Samartha. You call Mother Sita. So he said, okay, I'll call. So he invokes Mother Sita. And out of his love, Mother Sita comes there. And then Hanumanji is looking at Mother Sita. Samartha Ramdas is looking at Mother Sita. He is saying, yes, Mother, please tell me what was the color of the flower. And Samartha Ramdas is very cool and calm. But Hanumanji is very eager. Mother Sita says that the color of the flower is red. And Mother Sita speaks. So people heard from the speaker it is white. From Hanumanji they are hearing it is red. So everybody is very curious what Mother Sita will say. So when Mother Sita speaks, she says the flower were blue. So now there is even more chaos. Speaker is saying white, Hanumanji is saying red, Mata Sita is saying blue. So whom to believe? So even more chaos. But this Samartha Ramdas said no. There is only one person in this entire creation whose words can never go wrong, because he is the only one Sarvagyan, that is Ram. So call Ram. So Hanumanji say, you only call. Because we are very confirmed, we are confirmed that what I am saying is right. Mother Sita is saying, you also call. I am also confirmed that the flowers are blue. Then Lord Ram is invoked. And when three people who are such great devotees are invoking, Lord Ram had to come. And then everybody is very curious now, what will happen? Katha is already stopped. Nobody is worried about Katha. The main concern is the color of the flower. Is it white, is it red, or is it blue? Then what to do? Then Lord Ramchandra comes there. And everybody is looking. Mother Sita is through the glance of her eye. She is saying, better you say it is blue, because I have said blue. Hanumanji is saying, my dear Lord, I did so much for you in Ramayana. So the flower of the color of the flower must be what? It must be red. And Samartha Ramdas is very cool. And how to resolve this controversy? Because if he says red, others will be not happy. If he says blue, others will not be happy. If he says white, then Sita and Hanumanji will not be happy. The first thing Lord Ramchandra, what he did, see, this is such a practical tip. Lord Ramchandra gives a brilliant smile. And everybody is just flabbergasted. Everybody's heart is totally nourished. And they are so happy. Then Lord Ramchandra says, are you all happy? He says, yes, we are all happy. But the audience, they want to know, sir, what is the reality? Please tell. And then Lord Ramchandra says, are you all happy? He says, yes, but still we want to know what is the color of the flower. And then Lord Ramchandra says that the color of the flower is white. Now at this event, Samartha Ramdas is not saying Hanumanji, see, I told you, you don't believe me, Shastra is saying. So Lord Ramchandra says, So Hanuman says, but I saw it was red. Mother Sita said, I saw it was, I stayed 10 months. Hanumanji was only for some time. I stayed 10 months. It must be red. It must be blue. So what is the actual color? White or red or... Then Lord Ramachandra says, the color of the flower was white. But why Hanumanji saw it red? Because he was so angry with Ravana that his mode of passion had covered him. Of course, on Hanumanji, but for learning, Lord Ramachandra is saying that he was so angry, and when a person is in Rajogun, he sees everything red. That is the sign of anger, and that is why Lord Ramachandra says, Hanumanji, you saw everything red. And everybody was curious, why blue? Then Lord Ramachandra says that Mother Sita, from the moment she was kidnapped by Ravana, she was exclusively meditating on the beautiful form of Lord Ramachandra. And in some places, the form of Lord Ramachandra is also mentioned as blue. Some places green, some places blue. And that color of Lord Ramachandra's body was so deeply pervading the mind of Mother Sita that Mother Sita saw all the flowers as blue because of her absorption in Lord Ramachandra. So from Hanumanji we see that the modes are so strong, they can influence us at any moment. And from Mother Sita we learn that the success of Krishna consciousness or any activity in Krishna consciousness is absorption in Krishna, and that is why Prabhupada has named our society as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the very wonderful class, Prabhu. It was a beautiful class. Both very philosophical and very Katha-oriented. Both were very, very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I just had one question, if it's okay. I was just curious. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, we can't hear you.
I'm here, Prabhuji.
Oh, I have muted him, so you ask question, then I will unmute him.
Oh, okay. So, yes, my question was, so when you were talking about the subtle and the gross body and the coverings, my question was, when you were talking about Huhu Gandharva and Gajendra, the Gajendra part I understand, but why would Huhu Gandharva have a soul of Gandharva? Because Gandharva itself is material, right? It cannot be spiritual. It is within this planets in the material world. So why would the spiritual form be of a Gandharva? That was my question. For Gajendra, I understand he had his innate spiritual form at the forearm, the Sarupya form of Vaikuntha. But Gandharva, I didn't understand. Prabhu, can you please throw light on that, please? Hare Krishna.
Maybe I may have presented it not in a proper way, but the body of a crocodile, inside the body is the body of a Gandharva, and inside that body of Gandharva is the actual soul. Means there are two more bodies, two more coverings on the soul. First is that of the Gandharva, and on top of the Gandharva is the covering of the crocodile. So when the crocodile's covering is cut, what comes out is the Gandharva covering. And when he will practice in his abode, the Krishna consciousness process, then that Gandharva covering will be released, will be cut, and the actual soul will come out. That is what I wanted to mention.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for clarification. Very, very wonderful. Thank you so much, as always. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. All blessings,
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhupada. Wonderful class, Prabhu. And the most fascinating part was my son was leaving for his school, but he didn't want to leave because you were in the middle of the story of Hanuman. So now after coming back, he's going to listen to the story again. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji, can like you detailed explain the Dhyana Yoga process, Prabhu, right? How is this process different or related to the Kundalini process, Prabhuji? Or is it also called Dhyana Yoga? Or what is the name for the Kundalini process?
Hare.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Kundalini process is the 8 chakra. We have the chakra body. Chakras, then they are released. So that is also a part of this proposition. There are 8 chakras, and these 8 chakras have to be opened up. The air will pass through all these 8 chakras, and we have the Brahmarandra, and taking the soul from this Brahmarandra, the soul will pass out. So we have to release each chakra, and the energy that is released from this chakra will help him strength, and that will help him. So that is also part of Ashtanga Yoga. Here. It is not a different. Kundalini is a part of Ashtanga Yoga process. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can we say Dhyana Yoga also is Hatha Yoga?
Yes, Prabhuji. Jnana Yoga means we have to have the knowledge first of how this body is not different, is different from the soul, and then to apply that knowledge, we have to go through this process ultimately of Ashtanga Yoga.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just have a question. It is like I'm just wondering if like Maharaj Prithu and other devotees we've seen earlier too, like the Pandavas and Kunti Maharani, towards the end of their life they took to meditation. They retired to the Himalayas and things like that. But they were great devotees of Lord. So what is the need for them to engage in a yogic, this kind of a yogic path, even though they are devotees?
Hare Krishna. You are asking about Yudhishthir Maharaj and the Pandavas, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Not only that, even Prithu Maharaj, he was, we see also that he had the great qualities of a devotee. And also, like, we have seen in the first canto that Yudhishthir and the Pandavas, like, they follow him to go and do this yogic process. and also Kunti Maharani, she leaves with Dhritarashtra, to concentrate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm thinking when they're devotees of the Lord, like these great personalities, why do they need to engage in a yogic, path?
Muted.
Yes, Mataji. So your question is why these devotees or pure devotees need to do this Ashtanga Yoga process, just like you gave example of Prithu Maharaj or Pandavas or Kunti Maharani. So before establishing any process, there are two things that have taken into consideration. First is which is the yuga that is going on. So according to the yuga, if it is Satya Yuga, then the level of energy and the time period for existence, just like in Satya Yuga, the lifespan is 1 lakh years, and the strength is also very superior and high. That is why what process is given is of Dhyana Yoga. Actually, this process is meant exclusively for Satya Yuga, because the body is so strong and there is so much of energy that if I tell somebody who has very high energy and if I give him a very small weight to pick up, then he won't be comfortable with that, because his strength is far higher. So he may feel that I should pick up. So exclusively in the other ages where energy level and the lifespan was very high, so accordingly a process was given. Just like we see Vishwamitra Muni practicing tapasya for 60,000 years, because the total lifespan was 1 lakh years. And also the process, it is not so that they cannot practice chanting or glorifying the Lord, that they were already on that platform, they were already doing that. Because initially, if we see even in Prithu Maharaj's case, he was constantly absorbed in the beautiful form of the Lord. And the process that was given to him, this Ashtanga Yoga process, 3 shlokas before this, Prabhupada writes that it was given to him by his guru Sanat Kumar. So his guru, to establish that as a method for achieving Krishna for that specific period of time, was this method. So to establish, as a king, he had to establish example before his citizen, and that is why he is practicing that. In case of Pandavas or Kunti Maharani, they also took to this process, but Pandava, Prabhupada gives example, is like a dry coconut. They are called as Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta means their consciousness is already detached from this body. Just like a dry coconut, the coconut is inside the shell, but it is detached from the shell. Similarly, Jivan Mukta is one who is in the body, but he is functioning within this body on the level of Vaikuntha. Just like coconut, when it is totally dry, it is detached from the shell. Similarly, Jivan Mukta, a Bhakta or a devotee, even though he may seemingly stay here, but his consciousness is already transported in the Vaikuntha realm. So this Pandava, just to set that standard, for that time, they have taken to these processes.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for your answer. I was just wondering, so for Kali Yuga, the dharma is chanting, and I mean, on a practical level, personally speaking, I may not reach the stage of pure chanting, So I do see, like, in the passing away of many devotees, that they are in devotee association and the devotees chant continuously, or there is a Prabhupada chanting going on when the person is, kind of very sick at the terminal stages. So would that also work, Prabhuji? I mean, given that this is Kali Yuga and we don't have those kind of, strong bodies where you can do these kind of Ashtanga yoga and get access to the Vaikuntha planet.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, what?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes. Yes.
So, need not Ashtanga yoga, because ultimately chanting body. So if we chant properly, over a period of time, all the impurities will be dissolved on its. If that stage is to a superlative degree, then even the subtle body is when we are present in this material body. So that is the power of holy name. But since our chanting is not that level perceived, but the sound, just like there is a term in science called as sound beam. Sound beam is something, if you hit that sound beam on a building, the entire building will come down, the entire structure will off. Or will the entire structure for body. We want all this body also strong, it is easily possible. And as of given example, we may not be pure chanter, but just like I said, are we clear of what is supposed to be achieved? Why I am practicing this process? Clear, eventually, even if the body is very strong or very fit, but mind is always active. That is why Krishna is exclusive. So even if the body is not active.
There is a lot of static. I'm not sure if everybody is able to, also experiencing this, but your voice is breaking up quite a bit.
Yes, Prabhuji, we cannot hear you clearly.
Is it okay now, Mataji?
I think better.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, it is better now, Prabhu. No, Prabhuji, we cannot hear you.
Now
Prabhuji, please off your video.
Hare Krishna. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes.
And there is a network problem here, so maybe we won't be able to have the video, but I hope it is audible now.
Yes, Prabhu, very clear. Thank you. Sorry
Okay.
about
Yeah. So even if the other senses are dysfunctional, mind is always active because it is a subtle sense organ, and that is why entire Krishna conscious activities are mainly based on hearing, and once we have practiced that hearing, then the mind is automatically tuned, and all these things, if we have heard properly, then even at the last minute we can, if not externally but internally, the mind will always be meditating on Krishna. And when devotees sitting around us are chanting Hare Krishna, then mind will be forced to think of Krishna, if we have practiced it in the initial phases. So we need not worry. What is there in our hand is exclusively to chant sincerely as far as possible, and we have Krishna and devotees will take care of us.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for so patiently taking our questions in spite of technical glitches and sharing
Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the beautiful class. What is the book's name you said written by a Mataji? I'm revealing. I could not catch it, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
The book is titled Unrevealing the Heart.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
And what is Mataji's name, Prabhuji?
Sukavaha Mataji. She is Prabhupada disciple.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very nice class, Prabhuji, and very nice explanation. So he said Mahat Tattva has 24 elements, and when we have to return those elements. So is that just the death of the body, or the what is that, Prabhuji? Is it related to the soul or the body?
Returning of the elements to the Mahat Tattva is a mechanical process, and it is pertaining only to the body. The soul has anyways nothing to do with this matter. It is just a covering. Just if I wear a shirt and at the end of the day when my work is done, I hang it back on the hook. Similarly, when the soul is completely convinced that he has nothing to do with this bag of matter, then he is ready to give it up, and that is when he starts the unwinding process. So this unwinding process is not an actual process. Just like if I have to say that if I am returning the water element in my body to the bank of water in the Mahat Tattva, so how do I do that? So Prabhupada makes it clear that it is the attachment to that element that I have to give up. That is why Prabhupada used to always say that even if you are attached to a gulab jam, you will have to come back. Why? Because I am attached to the organ of tongue, which tastes so many other items. So when I say I have to give it back, I have to relieve myself of that attachment to that sense object, and to that element. When I relieve myself of that attachment, that is what we call as giving up.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very wonderful class. You very nicely explained the process of Ashtanga Yoga and different stages and how it's important. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I missed the part where you said about letting go of things and how is it related to giving disease in the body. If we keep the hurt feelings or something, I think you were making a connection to that.
Yeah, even in Mataji's book we can find this where she is mentioning that if we read the third canto, there are three things that are given. One is the soul, in between is the mind, and on the other side is the body. So the mind acts as the connector between the soul and the body. What is a desire? Desire is nothing but an emotion. So when this emotion arises in the soul, that emotion is converted into a mechanical signal and it passes through the mind, and an chemical equivalent is formed in the body. Just like if I have a desire to eat samosa or kachori or gulab jamun, then this desire will get transmitted through the mind and automatically it will be transformed into a chemical equivalent, that is the saliva that comes up. So what happens is, now this is a natural process when desire is fulfilled, but what happens is when this desire is not fulfilled, then this chemical equivalent gets disturbed. When saliva is naturally provided and it comes on the tongue, and when I eat something it is used to digest the food. But what happens to those chemicals which are generated after my emotions are hurt or emotions are unfulfilled? So that chemicals are stored in the body and they start harming the body. But actually these responses are generated through the agency of the mind. That is why if there is a new technique, they called it as past life regression. In past life regression, they take you to the past life, and in the past life you can see the events that are happening. Just like in India, we in our community here in Nasik, we have one Mataji who had severe problem in her stomach. So they did all the treatments and nothing came up. She was always in pain. So they took her to her past life regression. So in her past life, when she was speaking, when she crossed this life from her mother's womb to the past life, she could see that some people are hitting her hard in her stomach, and by hitting she was killed. So in this life where it was paining exactly where that where she was kicked. So at the time when she was leaving her body, she had held that pain in her mind, and that same is getting exhibited in this body. Then they took her to her previous birth, this birth, previous, and one more previous. Now that life she saw that she hit those people who were hitting her in her previous life. So that was a cycle that came up. But the emotions were held, and those emotions were exclusively getting reflected on the body. So when we hold back the emotions, then they start affecting the body. And that is why release of that emotion, and then she was told to forgive. We say how forgiveness is great. That is where this point we took, that when we release those emotions, that okay, it was my fault initially that I hit them, and that came back as the reaction, and if I hold it again, it will continue as a cycle. They'll hit me again, I'll hit them again. That is why I take the responsibility as it started from me, and now I want to give it up. I forgive them completely. I don't want anything to do. I don't want to do anything. I forgive them completely, and once that is forgiven, then you release all the negative energy and it is dispersed, and eventually body will function as normal body. So holding back of the emotions is what mind does, and that is just a signal that is reflected in the body. So as soon as you release the emotions, your chemical equilibrium is achieved and body functions as normal. So that is how it works.
Yeah, very, very beautiful connection and explanation, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the very, very beautiful class and very nice information you gave. So, if no one has any question or comments, we can end now. Let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. His Grace Sukumar Gaur Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.